The text arrived at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was already in bed, half asleep, when my phone lit up the darkness. My sister's name glowed on the screen. Emma never texted this late unless something was catastrophically wrong. Can you come over? Now. Please. No explanation. No context. Just urgency wrapped in 4 words. I threw on clothes and drove across town in my pajama bottoms and an old hoodie, my heart hammering against my ribs. When I pulled into her driveway, every light in the house was on, burning like a distress signal against the quiet suburban street. Emma opened the door before I could knock. Her face was pale, eyes red-rimmed but dry. She wasn't crying anymore. She'd moved past tears into something colder. "He's having an affair," she said flatly. No preamble. No softening. My stomach dropped. "Marcus." She nodded once, then stepped aside to let me in. On the kitchen table sat her laptop, open to a screen I couldn't quite see yet. Beside it, her phone. And next to that, a glass of wine she clearly hadn't touched. "I found messages," she continued, voice unnervingly steady. "Months of them. With someone named Olivia." I sat down slowly, trying to process. Marcus had always seemed fine. Boring, maybe. Predictable. The kind of man who mowed the lawn on Saturdays and complained about property taxes. "Are you sure?" I asked stupidly. Emma turned the laptop toward me. And there, in brutal black and white, was proof. The messages weren't subtle. They weren't even trying to be careful. Pet names. Inside jokes. Plans to meet. Complaints about their situations at home, like Emma and whoever Olivia's partner was were inconvenient roommates instead of spouses. One message made my hands curl into fists. "I can't wait until we don't have to hide anymore." Marcus had sent that. My brother-in-law. The man who'd promised Emma forever in front of 200 people. "How long?" I asked quietly. Emma's jaw tightened. "At least 6 months. Maybe longer." She clicked to another screen. Bank statements. Small charges to restaurants Emma had never been to. Hotel bookings disguised as business expenses. A pattern so obvious now that it felt insulting. "He thought I wouldn't notice," Emma said. "Or maybe he didn't care if I did." I looked at my sister, 34 years old, a marketing director, someone who'd built her life with precision and care, and saw something I'd never seen before. Not just hurt. Calculation. "What are you going to do?" I asked. Emma closed the laptop slowly. "I don't know yet. But I'm not going to cry about it." Her voice was ice. And I realized in that moment that Marcus had made a terrible mistake. He'd underestimated her. The next morning, Emma went to work like nothing had happened. She kissed Marcus goodbye at the door, a performance so convincing I almost believed it myself. He smiled, oblivious, and drove off to whatever lie he'd scheduled for the day. The second his car disappeared, Emma's face went blank. "I need information," she said, turning to me. "Everything." We spent the morning digging. Not dramatically. Not illegally. Just carefully. Olivia's last name appeared in one of Marcus's emails. A quick search revealed her social media, private, but her profile picture showed a woman with sharp cheekbones and perfect lipstick. Her bio mentioned working in education. A teacher. Emma stared at the photo for a long time. "She looks normal." "They always do," I muttered. Then Emma found something else. Olivia's marital status, married. Tag photos from years ago showed a tall man with kind eyes standing beside her at what looked like a wedding. His name was Kyle. Emma's expression shifted. "He doesn't know either." "Probably not," I agreed. She drummed her fingers on the table, thinking. Then she did something I didn't expect. She opened a new email and started typing. The email was short, professional, terrifying in its simplicity. "Hi Kyle. You don't know me, but I think we need to talk. I believe our spouses are involved with each other. If I'm wrong, please ignore this. If I'm right, I'm sorry. My name is Emma." She included her phone number and hit send before I could talk her out of it. "What if he doesn't believe you?" I asked. Emma shrugged. Then I tried. We waited. 20 minutes later, her phone rang. Unknown number. Emma answered on speaker. "Hello. Is this Emma?" A man's voice. Low. Shaken. Yes. A long exhale. This is Kyle. Olivia's husband. Silence stretched between them. Two strangers bonded by something neither had asked for. Can we meet? He asked finally. Emma's eyes met mine. Yes. When? Now, Kyle said. If you can. They agreed on a coffee shop halfway between their neighborhoods. Somewhere neutral. Somewhere safe. When Emma hung up, her hands were trembling. Are you okay? I asked. She nodded. I think so. But I need you to come with me. I grabbed my keys without hesitation. Kyle was already waiting when we arrived. He stood when Emma walked in. Instinct, maybe, or just desperate politeness in a situation with no script. He looked exactly like his photos. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a work shirt with his company logo stitched on the chest. He looked like a man whose world had just cracked open. Emma, he asked. She nodded. And this is my sister, Kara. He shook my hand briefly, then gestured to the table. We sat today. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then Kyle pulled out his phone and slid it across the table. On the screen was a text exchange between Olivia and Marcus. Different thread. Same tone. Same betrayal. Emma read it, her face unreadable. I saw your email and checked her phone while she was in the shower, Kyle said quietly. She never deletes anything. His voice cracked slightly on the last word. Emma looked up at him. How long have you been married? 7 years, he said. We have a daughter. She's 5. My chest tightened. Emma's expression softened just slightly. I'm sorry. Kyle laughed bitterly. I should be saying that to you. They stared at each other, two people who should never have met, now sitting across a table because of choices neither of them made. What do we do now? Kyle asked. Emma leaned forward. We get smart. Over the next hour, they compared notes. Every late meeting. Every unexplained absence. Every lie that had seemed plausible at the time but now fit together like pieces of a map. Marcus had told Emma he was networking on Thursday nights. Olivia had told Kyle she was mentoring new teachers on Thursdays. Same night. Same lie. Different audience. Kyle's hands balled into fists. She used our daughter as an excuse. Said she needed time for self-care. Emma winced. I watched them both carefully. This could have gone badly. Blame, anger, suspicion of each other. But instead, something else was happening. They were becoming allies. I want proof, Kyle said finally. Real proof. Not just texts. Emma nodded. So do I. Then we work together, Kyle said. Emma extended her hand across the table. Kyle shook it. And in that moment, I knew Marcus and Olivia had made a critical error. They created enemies who had nothing to lose. Emma didn't confront Marcus that night. She came home, cooked dinner, asked about his day. She played the role of the wife who suspected nothing. Marcus kissed her cheek and complained about a difficult client. He ate her food. He watched television beside her. He had no idea she'd spent the afternoon strategizing with the husband of the woman he was sleeping with. After Marcus went to bed, Emma sat at the kitchen table with her laptop and started documenting everything. Dates, times, locations, receipts. She created a spreadsheet that would make an accountant weep with joy. I stayed with her until past midnight, helping cross-reference bank statements with calendar entries. Why are you doing this? I asked at one point. Emma didn't look up. Because when this goes to court, I want him to have nothing to stand on. Court. The word hung in the air. Emma wasn't just angry. She was planning an exit strategy. And she was doing it with the precision of someone who'd been underestimated for far too long. Kyle called Emma 2 days later. I installed a tracking app on Olivia's phone, he said. Is that bad? Emma paused. Legally or morally? Either. Check your local laws, Emma said carefully. But if it's a shared family plan. Kyle exhaled. It is. Then you're probably fine. He sent her a screenshot. The location history showed Olivia at a hotel across town, right when she told Kyle she was at a staff development seminar. Emma checked her own records. Marcus had claimed a late meeting with investors that same night. Same hotel. Same time. Emma's voice was deadly calm. We have them. Kyle agreed. What now? Now we wait, Emma said. And we prepare. She hung up and looked at me. I need a lawyer. I nodded. I'll find you the best one. By evening, Emma had a consultation booked with a family law attorney who'd come highly recommended. She walked into that office with a folder 2 inches thick. She walked out with a plan. The lawyer's name was Victoria Chen. No, wait, Victoria Harper. Mid-50s, sharp suit, sharper eyes. She reviewed Emma's documentation without expression, then looked up. This is exceptional work, she said. Emma nodded. I want to be ready. You are, Victoria confirmed. But let me be clear, divorce is about assets, custody, and fairness. It's not about punishment. I understand, Emma said. Do you? Victoria's gaze was piercing. Because I need to know you won't do anything that could hurt your case. Emma met her eyes. I won't. I just want what's mine. Victoria smiled slightly. Good. Then let's get started. They spent the next 90 minutes going through finances. The house was in both names. Savings were joint. Marcus made slightly more, but Emma's career contributions were substantial. Any children? Victoria asked. No. That simplifies things. Emma's face tightened. We were trying. The room went quiet. Victoria's expression softened. I'm sorry. Emma shook her head. Don't be. I'm not. Because now Emma understood the truth. Marcus had been planning his exit while pretending to build a future. And that realization turned her grief into fuel. Carl started documenting too. He and Emma texted frequently now, not as friends, exactly, but as people with a shared mission. He sent her photos of receipts he'd found in Olivia's car, restaurant bills, lingerie purchases she'd never worn at home. Emma sent him bank statements showing Marcus withdrawing cash in amounts too round to be coincidental. They were building parallel cases. One night, Carl called her instead of texting. I almost confronted her today, he admitted. I saw her texting him at breakfast and I wanted to scream. But you didn't, Emma said. No. Because I remembered what you said. We wait. We prepare. Emma's voice was firm. Exactly. They think we're clueless. That's our advantage. Carl laughed hollowly. Advantage. Right. It is, Emma insisted. Every day they think they're getting away with it. They get sloppier. She was right. The affair was making Marcus careless. He stopped hiding his phone as carefully. He came home smelling like perfume that wasn't Emma's. He thought he was untouchable. Emma knew better. Marcus finally slipped up in a way he couldn't explain. Emma found a hotel keycard in his jacket pocket while doing laundry. The kind they give you at check-in with the room number written on the envelope. She photographed it, then put it back exactly where she'd found it. That night, she checked their credit card statement. No hotel charge, which meant he'd paid cash. Oh, Olivia had. Emma texted Kyle, he's using cash now. Check your statements. Kyle replied 10 minutes later, she withdrew £400 last week. Said it was for classroom supplies. They were both quiet for a moment. Then Kyle added, I hate this. Emma understood. This wasn't thrilling. It wasn't empowering. It was exhausting. But she typed back, I know. But we're almost there. And she meant it. Victoria had told her they needed at least 3 months of solid documentation before filing. They were at 2.5. Emma could wait another 2 weeks. She'd waited this long already. The breaking point came on a Thursday. Marcus told Emma he had a work dinner. Kyle told Emma that Olivia claimed she was mentoring a student teacher. Emma and Kyle decided to follow them. Not dramatically. Not recklessly. Just confirmation. They met in a parking lot near the hotel they'd identified from the tracking app. Kyle's hands gripped the steering wheel so hard his knuckles went white. We don't have to do this, Emma said quietly. Yes, we do, Kyle replied. They watched. Waited. At 7:15, Olivia's car pulled into the lot. She parked near the entrance, checked her makeup in the mirror, then walked inside. 10 minutes later, Marcus arrived. Emma's chest tightened as she watched him get out of his car, the man she'd married, the man she'd trusted, and walk toward the same entrance with the easy confidence of someone who believed he'd never be caught. Kyle started recording on his phone. Marcus disappeared inside. They sat in silence for 20 minutes. Then Kyle said quietly, I'm filing tomorrow. Emma nodded. Me too. They didn't need to see them come out. They'd seen enough. Emma filed for divorce on Friday morning. Victoria had prepared everything in advance. The petition was clean, thorough, and devastating. It included financial misconduct, evidence of infidelity, a request for fair division of assets. Marcus was served at his office that afternoon. Emma wasn't there to see his face. She didn't need to be. She knew exactly what he'd do. He called her 17 times in 2 hours. She didn't answer. He came home that evening, pale and shaking, holding the papers like they were something toxic. What is this? He demanded. Emma looked up from her book. It's a divorce petition. You can't just, without talking to me. I tried talking to you, Emma interrupted calmly. You were too busy lying. Marcus's face flushed. I don't know what you think you know. Emma stood. I know about Olivia. The room went silent. Marcus's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. It's not. Don't, Emma said sharply. Don't insult me by pretending now. His shoulders sagged. Emma, please, can we just? No, she said. We can't. She walked past him toward the stairs. I'll stay at my sister's, she added without looking back. You have the house for now. My lawyer will be in touch. Marcus stood frozen as Emma packed a bag and left. Kyle filed the same day. Olivia's reaction was louder. According to Kyle's text to Emma that night, she'd screamed, cried, accused him of being controlling and paranoid. Then she called Marcus in front of Kyle. That was a mistake, Emma replied. Kyle sent back, she's still calling him. I can hear her in the other room. Emma stared at her phone. Then typed, let her. It's evidence. She was right. Every panicked call, every desperate message, every attempt to coordinate their stories only made the case stronger. Marcus tried a different approach. He sent Emma a long email. Apologetic, pleading, full of words like mistake and confused, and we can work through this. Emma forwarded it to Victoria without responding. Victoria replied, perfect. His admitting fault in writing. Emma almost smiled. Almost. The next 2 weeks were brutal. Marcus alternated between begging and anger. He wanted to talk. He wanted closure. He wanted Emma to be reasonable. Emma stayed silent. She communicated only through Victoria, only about logistics. Marcus hated it. He told mutual friends that Emma was being cold and refusing to communicate. The friends who mattered knew better. Meanwhile, Kyle was navigating something even harder, a child caught in the middle. His daughter knew something was wrong but didn't understand what. Kyle and Olivia were trying to shield her, but the tension was impossible to hide completely. Emma felt a pang of sympathy for Kyle that she didn't feel for herself. She'd lost a marriage. He was losing a family structure. One night, Kyle called her. I don't know how to do this. Do what? Emma asked gently. Be angry at her and still parent with her. Emma was quiet for a moment. You focus on your daughter. The anger can wait. Kyle exhaled slowly. Thank you. For what? For reminding me what matters. Emma's throat tightened unexpectedly. They'd become something strange. Not quite friends. Not quite allies. Something forged in shared betrayal. The financial disclosure phase began. Marcus's lawyer requested documentation. Victoria provided it. Every receipt, every statement, every proof of Emma's contributions to their life together. Marcus tried to claim he'd paid for most things. Victoria destroyed that argument in one email with a spreadsheet showing Emma's salary deposits, her half of the mortgage payments, and her contributions to household expenses. Marcus's lawyer went quiet. Then Marcus made a critical error. He tried to hide money. He transferred funds from their joint savings into an account Emma didn't know about. Except Emma's bank had flagged the suspicious activity and notified her. Victoria filed a motion immediately. The judge was not amused. Marcus was ordered to return the funds within 72 hours and provide full financial transparency. His credibility was shattered. Emma received the news while sitting in her sister's kitchen. I watched her read the email, then set down her phone carefully. He tried to steal from me, she said quietly. I know. Even now. Even after everything. Her voice didn't shake. It hardened. "He's not getting away with this," she said. And I believed her. Carl's case moved faster. Olivia wanted to settle quickly, probably to minimize damage to her reputation. She offered Carl primary custody in exchange for lower spousal support. Carl was torn. He called Emma for advice. "She's offering me everything I want regarding our daughter, but I feel like she's manipulating me." Emma considered carefully. "Is your daughter safe with her?" "Yes." "Then take the deal," Emma said. "Protect your child first. Everything else is just noise." Carl was quiet. "You're right." He settled. Olivia moved out within a month. She rented a small apartment across town and got herself a different teaching position at another school. Carl heard through mutual acquaintances that she and Marcus were taking a break. He texted Emma, "Guess the affair wasn't so romantic when it became real life." Emma replied, "They never are." She wasn't surprised. Affairs thrive on secrecy and fantasy. Reality, bills, lawyers, consequences, kills them faster than anything else. Marcus's affair with Olivia imploded publicly. Someone at his office found out. Then someone else. Then everyone. His professional reputation took a hit. He tried to paint himself as the victim of a vindictive ex-wife, but Emma's silence worked against him. She didn't trash him publicly. She didn't post on social media. She didn't tell her side to anyone who'd listen. She just moved forward. And somehow, that made her look dignified while Marcus looked desperate. Victoria called it the power of restraint. Emma called it survival. One evening, Marcus showed up at my house, where Emma was staying, unannounced. I answered the door. "I need to talk to her," he said. "No," I replied. "Please. Just 5 minutes." "She doesn't want to see you, Marcus." His face twisted. "This is your fault. You turned her against me." I almost laughed. "I didn't have to. You did that yourself." He left, furious. Emma had watched from the upstairs window. When I came back inside, she was shaking slightly. "Thank you," she whispered. I hugged her. "Always." The settlement came through in month 4. Fair division of assets. Emma kept her car, half the savings, and her share of the house equity. Marcus kept his car, his half, and his shame. No alimony on either side. Clean break. Victoria called it a good outcome. Emma called it closure. The day the papers were finalized, Emma sat in her new apartment, small, bright, hers, and cried for the first time since the night she'd found the messages. Not because she missed Marcus, because she'd survived. I sat beside her on the sofa and didn't say anything. Sometimes silence is the only thing that fits. Later, she wiped her eyes and said, "I'm glad I didn't beg him to stay." "Me too," I said. "I'm glad I fought smart instead of loud." "You did." She looked at me. "Do you think I'll be okay?" I squeezed her hand. "You already are." Kyle and Emma stayed in touch. Not constantly. Just, occasionally. He'd text her when something reminded him of the early days. She'd text him when she needed to talk to someone who understood. One afternoon, 6 months after everything, they met for coffee. Not at the same place they'd met that first desperate day. Somewhere new. Kyle looked different. Lighter. His daughter was thriving. He'd started dating someone, a colleague who knew his history and didn't flinch. Emma was genuinely happy for him. "How are you?" he asked. "Better," Emma said. And she meant it. They talked for an hour. About work. About healing. About the strange gift of perspective. "I never thought I'd say this," Kyle admitted. "But I'm grateful it happened." Emma raised an eyebrow. "Grateful?" "Not for the pain," he clarified quickly, "but for the clarity. I was living a lie and didn't know it." Emma understood. She thought her marriage was solid. Boring, maybe, but stable. She'd been wrong. And discovering that had hurt. But staying in ignorance would have hurt more. Emma started dating again eventually. Not seriously. Just testing the waters. She went on a few dates that went nowhere. One that went somewhere briefly but fizzled. She wasn't in a rush. For the first time in years, she was comfortable being alone. One night, she told me, "I don't need someone to complete me." "I know," I said. "But I think I'd like someone to share things with. Eventually." "You will," I assured her. And I believed it. Because Emma had learned something valuable. She could survive devastation. That knowledge made her fearless in a way she'd never been before. She negotiated a promotion at work. She traveled alone to places she'd always wanted to see. She rebuilt friendships she'd neglected. She became, slowly, the version of herself she'd lost somewhere in trying to be Marcus's wife. Marcus tried to contact her once more. A year after the divorce, he sent an email. It wasn't angry. It wasn't pleading. It was reflective. He admitted he'd made mistakes. He said he understood why she'd done what she did. He didn't ask for forgiveness or reconciliation. He just acknowledged the truth. Emma read it twice. Then she deleted it. Not out of anger. Out of completion. She didn't need his apology. She'd already moved on. Kyle got remarried 2 years later. He invited Emma to the wedding. She almost didn't go. It felt strange. Celebratory attendance at the wedding of someone she'd met through mutual devastation. But she went. And it was beautiful. Kyle's daughter was a flower girl. His new wife was kind, grounded, and clearly adored them both. At the reception, Kyle found Emma. "Thank you for coming. Thank you for inviting me." He smiled. "You know, I've been thinking. If none of that had happened." Emma finished his thought. "You wouldn't be here." "Exactly." They stood in comfortable silence. Then Kyle said quietly, "You saved me that day. When you sent that email." Emma shook her head. "We saved each other." And that, she realized, was the truth. They'd been strangers thrown together by betrayal. And they'd chosen not to drown in it. They'd chosen to document, to prepare, to survive. And in doing so, they'd given each other permission to start over. Emma met someone a year after Kyle's wedding. His name was Owen. He worked in finance. He had kind eyes and no interest in games. Their first date was coffee. Their second was dinner. Their third was a long walk where they talked about past hurts and future hopes. Emma told him everything. Owen listened without judgment. "That must have been hell," he said simply. "It was," Emma agreed. "But I got through it." Owen smiled. "You're stronger than you think." Emma laughed. "I'm exactly as strong as I think. That's what I learned." They dated for 8 months before moving in together. Emma didn't rush. She didn't ignore red flags. She didn't settle. She'd learned the cost of ignoring instincts. Owen was patient, honest, steady, everything Marcus hadn't been. One night, Emma looked at Owen across their shared dinner table and realized something profound. She wasn't afraid anymore. 3 years after the cafe table meeting, Emma stood in her own home, hers and Owen's, and thought about the woman she'd been. The one who'd received that first terrible text from Kyle. The one who'd sat in a coffee shop with a stranger and made a choice. She could have stayed quiet. She could have confronted Marcus alone. She could have crumbled. Instead, she documented, prepared, survived. People sometimes asked her if she regretted the way she'd handled things. No, she always said. Because revenge wasn't what she'd wanted. Justice was. And justice, she'd learned, wasn't loud. It was patient, methodical, quiet. It was spreadsheets and lawyers and evidence that couldn't be argued with. It was walking away with dignity instead of destruction. Marcus had expected her to fall apart. Instead, she'd become the person who kept records, protected herself, and refused to be broken by someone else's choices. That night, Emma sat on her porch with Owen beside her, watching the sun set over their neighborhood. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. Emma smiled. "How far I've come." Owen squeezed her hand. And Emma realized the greatest revenge wasn't what she'd taken from Marcus. It was what she'd built without him. A life full of honesty, partnership, peace. The life he'd tried to steal. And the life she'd fought to reclaim.